Hey, it's 11 o'clock, 11:01. Good morning. Did you know you're here at Woodland Chapel, the greatest place on earth at this very moment? If there were another place that you should be, you would be there. Did you know that? Yeah, I hope you do. So welcome to Woodland Chapel. Yeah, never mind. Now, don't get me confused here. I'm getting started. Hey, we have Ari back today. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah. Oh,
Hi, everyone.
give us just a couple little tinkles to get started here. Ah, that's
Like
it.
that?
Okay.
Is that the kind of tinkling that
Good.
you...
Well,
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
yeah, exactly. Hey, is there anyone visiting us for the very, very first time? I don't think I see. Yes, I do see a wonderful face back there. Hey, welcome. We're glad you're here. You know, we hope that you do like that what you hear here and what you see, and we hope you come back. You know, we hope you come back. We shall see. Okay. You know, we usually talk about announcements at this time, and so I'll do that. Please join us for fellowship after this morning's service. Well, you know that. You go down and have coffee and relax. Refocus Reframe. Have you heard that before? Refocus Reframe? You know, there's a self-care workshop that's going to meet at 1 o'clock in the library after we hear this wonderful message from our esteemed practitioner, Cheryl. We call her Cheryl O. She's kind of like a secret agent, you know. Cheryl O. Cheryl Ostrander. Okay. And the second Saturday Community Outreach Crafting Project. What a mouthful. Second Saturday Community Outreach Crafting Project. It's an idea where you can have a lot of fun brainstorming and creating small handouts for use at Salem community events such as the Pride Festival coming up. 11:30 to 3 o'clock is when it's going to happen on Saturday. Child care is available during the service, so if anybody wants to bring their children, the 5 children or 3 children or no children, just bring yourself in. There's a confidential prayer request forms in the back of the front. You can see of the where you're sitting. You know, those are kind of interesting to have and handful of hand. Yeah, you've got one there to show. Thank you, lifting that up there. Just fill out one if you feel like and so inclined. And you know what happens with that? Something pretty magical. It only goes into special hands. Not everyone gets a chance to know that and see that. It goes into the proper hands that does one thing, and that is that hooks you and connects you to the divine source that you're always connected to. We help the reminder of that to always be a part of when we look at that and decide what is it this person really wants us to pray about. If you have any comments, you can write on there too and tell us. Volunteers to serve. If you got a hankering to serve at Woodland Chapel, well, there's a hankering here for us to say, come on, talk to Reverend Moore, talk to me, talk to Julie, talk to one of our practitioners. We always got something we can do. So the Science of Mind magazine is the April issue is here now. Wow, that's good. No, the March-April issue is here. Okay. I don't think I have much more to tell you. I think we're going to sing a song.
Well, before we do that,
Oh, thank you.
there's a cake downstairs after the service for Reverend Don's birthday. So can we sing happy birthday?
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday
to you. Happy birthday, dear Rev Don. Happy birthday to you.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't bring candy kisses with me. I was going to.
Much to celebrate, and thank you for all the years of service here, Don. I think we all are so grateful.
Well, thank you, Julie.
Yeah. All right, and then after we eat plenty of cake and get wide awake and hyper, Cheryl's, what's that? Oh, yes, there are other snacks too. I'm just focusing on cake for some reason. Cheryl, who is our speaker today, is so awesome. She is just one of my favorite speakers, and her workshop is going to be really great. So you guys are invited to eat something and then come up and share the workshop. And yes, Don, you are a treasure here, and thank you so much for all that you do, your very presence. Yeah.
Well, if my wife was here, I'd kiss you. Thank you. I'll give you
But you can't hug me.
So, Ari,
If you would
And
like,
let's
please
stand. Yeah,
please stand and let's sing a song together. It's a song by Daniel Nahmod, Sacred Love. You are sacred love, sacred love, it's all that you are. You are sacred love, sacred love, it's all that you are. Show the way, God, show the way. I wanna live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I wanna live in such a holy place, such a holy place. You are blessed peace is all that you are. You are blessed peace is all that you are. Show the way, God, show the way. I wanna live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I wanna live in such a holy place, such a holy place. You are deepest joy is all that you are. You are deepest joy is all that you are. Show the way, God, show the way. I wanna live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I wanna live in such a holy place, such a holy place. You are sacred love is all that you are. You are sacred love is all that you are. Sacred love is all that you are. Sacred love is all that you are.
so let us move into that still place as we get ready to pray together.
This song has two parts, two melodies that I'm going to switch through, and feel free to just sing whichever one you want the whole time. It'll be around. It'll be wonderful. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering
And so let us take a moment together to truly remember who and what we are. To be reminded that there is only one power and one presence in this universe. The infinite intelligence everywhere presence. And that if it is everywhere present, it is in you, in I, in all life. It cannot be otherwise. And so in this moment, we remember that we are one with the presence and intelligence that creates and holds this universe in place. We are one with that. All the qualities that are in the divine wholeness reside in our essence. And so as we come together, we are reminded of that, knowing that at any moment we can remember that we are that holy presence. And that the love, the goodness, the peace, the prosperity, the order, all these qualities reside within us, and we can call them forth. As we take moments of stillness to remember that in this human form, we are having an experience. But it is not who we are. That in the midst of all the experiences that we go through on planet Earth, we are more than that. We are the pure essence of love and intelligence, and we can access that in our life as we remember. And I give thanks that we come together today to be reminded of that. I am deeply grateful. And I release these words to the law of mind that acts on all of our words and all of our thoughts. And I affirm into the law of mind that each one of us remembers our holiness. And together let us say, and so it is. And we have an affirmation to share together. Today I have choices as I allow my higher self to guide me to greater love, compassion, peace, and joy. Yes, and so it is.
Choose wisely. Ernest Holmes said, each person is an individual, and that means self-choice, backed by a power that will produce the thing chosen. Another Holmes, Oliver Wendell, said, greatness is not where we stand, but what direction we're moving in. Sometimes we sail with the wind, and other times against it. But we sail, we must, and not drift or lie at anchor. Being humanly divine and divinely human, one of the gifts we have is the great gift of choice. And it is a gift many of us take for granted. And some of us don't know we have choices. We have the power to choose what to eat, what to wear, where to go. We get to choose our friends and the people we associate with. Most importantly, we get to choose the thoughts we keep. In his book, The Science of Getting Rich, Wallace D. Wattles writes, "There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which, in its original state, permeates and fills the inner spaces of the universe. A thought, in its substance, produces a thing that is imagined by the thought. This has been said in many different ways. What you think about, you bring about. As a person thinketh in their heart, so are they. It is done unto you as you believe." You see, you get to choose how you think, feel, and act. There are no outside factors that force you to feel in any certain way. You choose how to respond, or you react to what has been said and done. Thoughts are things, so choose wisely. Well, the affirmation from this is, I choose to be free. I choose to be peace. I choose to be the joy of the infinite.
This is a song by Tish Melton called "We Can Do Hard Things." I walked through fire, I came out the other side. I chased desire, I made sure I got what's mine. And I continue to believe that I'm the one for me. And because I'm mine, I walk the line. 'Cause we're adventurers and heartbreaks our map, a final destination we lack. We stopped asking directions to places they've never been. And to be loved, we need to be known. We finally find our way back home, and through the joy and pain that our lives bring, we can do hard things. Well, I hit rock bottom, it felt like a brand new start. And I'm not the problem, sometimes things fall apart. And I continue to believe all the best people are free. And it took some time, but I'm finally fine. 'Cause we're adventurers and heartbreaks our map, a final destination we lack. We stopped asking
Thank you.
That thing always falls down. Well, hello. Now I got that sterling introduction. I have to actually do something here. I don't know what to say about that. I see I have the cameraman over there capturing my image. Usually when I see him with his phone, I hide from him. Don't get to today. Okay. Art, I want to thank you for that reading. It's right in line with everything that's come before it. So, yeah, very good. Thank you. We didn't collaborate, honest, we didn't. Be empty of worry. Why do you stay in prison when the door is so wide open? Move outside the tangle of fear thinking. That comes from Rumi, the poet. Today, I'm reminded of some words from Richard Bach. I teach best what I most need to learn. And so here I'm again with something I really need to learn. I'm among friends here, and so I'm going to take a big risk. Prepare yourselves. Imagine you're in a room with all your fragile belongings. Hand-blown glass, maybe a Tiffany-style lampshade if you're at my house. Ceramic handprints from your grandchildren. Perhaps a ceramic dog. All these, a flat screen TV, don't forget that. You're in this room with all these fragile things. Now, behind door number 1 is a Labradoodle puppy on a leash. Behind door number 2 is a 2-ton bull. Which door are you going to open? Think about that a second. Which door would you open if those were your choices? Now, if you look at your phone first thing in the morning and the news reports are streaming into your consciousness, you've opened door number 2. So that's what I'm here about today. If it feels like the world is moving a little faster than we are accustomed to, possibly a lot of news coming at us pretty fast from all directions, conflicting reports, different things like that. If you're feeling a little bit disturbed by that, you might be feeling something, and I'm going to use the word fear. Now, last year we had a theme about imperfection, and that was a risk too, because in this philosophy, we talk about our perfection. We talk about being whole, perfect, and complete. I mean, it's just a thread that runs through all of our readings. But there is a quality of imperfection that is sometimes perfect. You know, it's like there's a typo in that program. Don't ask me to point it out to you, but it's there. I saw it. And so that was my way of unintentionally demonstrating imperfection. Now, when Ernest Holmes tells us in prayer to turn away from the condition, he doesn't mean ignore it. He means that we should pray about the solution. We should pray about what we choose to have in our lives instead of that situation that is bothering us. If you come to me for prayer, and we have a few minutes to discuss, I will likely try to point you or bring out the prayer behind the prayer. And, a car is a really simple one. You could say, well, I want reliable transportation. I want to be comfortable. I want to look cool with my friends. Whatever it is, we'll pray for whatever you want, but we will look for the prayer behind the prayer. In the situation with fear, I'd like you to look at the fear behind the fear. In other words, what's in the outside world, the appearance before you, is the outside fear. And the fear behind the fear is something that's might be way back there, back there in the past that keeps lurking and sneaking up on you or me. Now, I have been taught in my life that my story is something of value. And in order to be of maximum service to God's kids, I need to share my story when it's appropriate. A story that isn't always cool. I wasn't always cool. But I adopted this phrase, and I think I made it up. It's probably the only thing I made up this morning is look back without staring. Thank you. I was hoping for a reaction like that. I've heard people say, well, you can remember, but don't start decorating it. Don't hang pictures on the wall and new curtains. But I simplified it for myself, and they say, look back without staring. I had an experience last year that was disturbing to me, and I was sharing it with our, bless you, I was sharing it with our veterinarian, who is a person of like mind. I don't know if she practices this philosophy, but she's certainly on board with us in that feeling. And I was sharing this with her, and it had just happened, and she could see by my face I was reliving it. And she said, I'm sorry I made you relive that. And I felt heard. I felt appreciated. I felt like this is one of my peeps, one of my tribe. So, fear, friend or foe. Is it possible to eliminate fear? Would we even want to do that? Fear has messages for us sometimes, things we need to be listening to. It serves a purpose. As long as human beings have been inhabiting the earth, we have been looking for signs of, yikes, it's a dinosaur. Maybe I should move, that kind of thing. Maybe it's a 2-ton bull. Maybe I should move. There's things that out there that they really should be addressed. There are things that we really should be aware of. I don't lay down in the middle of High Street at noon and expect my faith to keep me safe. I will do something about that. I will get up and get out of the way. There's traffic on High Street at noon. We're not going to eliminate fears today. We're not going to eliminate fears because we know they sometimes have a message for us. What I'd like to do is examine some of the ways that we can substitute a different thought for that fear, a different message for that fear message. Sometimes it's something real simple. Sometimes it's more complex. We come here to learn about some of the complex ones. We read and take classes, and people who have a long history with this philosophy will teach us things. But sometimes we have to go to Costco. Now, y'all might not go to Costco for a message of peace and joy. When I go to Costco on Saturdays, which I sometimes do because on every second Sunday of the month, I host fellowship hour. And that's because the board meets and they need to eat something nourishing. So I go to Costco. And my husband says, "You're going to Costco? What? Why?" And he knows why, but he just likes to see if I know why. But one of the things I take with me to Costco is a detective. I take my seeking mind and my seeking spirit that looks for people who are smiling or people who aren't smiling. I look for ways that I can smile at people and look for people who are nurturing their children, look for people who are smiling back. I look for all those signs, all those sources of, all those channels of love and peace that you can actually find at Costco. You might not want to join me there, but that's what I do. And last time I went, it was no exception. There were some people with children who were doing just really charming things, and they were charming to me because I wasn't raising them, and I didn't have to get them to stop climbing on the shelves or eating 10 snacks or any of those things that you might find if you have a small child at Costco. So that being said, I look for joy and peace where I can really dig, sometimes where I can really dig for it, where it might not always be really obvious. And, here in this place, we talk a lot about joy. We talk a lot about God. If I really want to experience God, I have to look for the ways that God demonstrates in my life, because I am a channel of that, and I want to get the best possible connection. So we look at the way we process information, and I haven't always processed information in an effective way. I'll admit to that. I'll admit that I haven't always looked for the best and greatest in other people. And I'm going to call that stamp collecting. Another tactic that I want to bring up, because if things seem to be, in the outside world, seem to be not okay, and I'm collecting those things, and I might have I might store up a whole bunch of those things. And in the words of, I won't quote this exactly, but there was a book that I read years ago called Games People Play. And it talked about collecting those negative things and trading them in for something else. Now, in the case of fear, we might trade those in for a rant. Somebody laughed. Well, it's true. We might trade them in for a rant. We might trade them in for eating a whole box of chocolates all at once. We might trade them in for going to the store and buying things we can't afford. We might trade them in for watching too much mayhem on TV. Many things we could trade them in for. But if I choose today not to collect those stamps, but to collect those smiling children at Costco, I will probably have a different result. I know I'll have a different result. The greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another. This comes from William James, a philosopher, psychologist, and pragmatist. Do I have a choice? It's been spoken many times so far. When I speak of fear, I invite you to listen to what the messages are from that fear. I came across a book, and I conveniently have it right here. Right here, there it is. When Fear Speaks, Listen. And this is written by Dennis Merritt Jones, who is he's a New Thought minister, 40 years in New Thought ministry, and an author. And he has some good things to say about this. He describes unmitigated fear as a bully. He tells us when we are deeply frightened, our reptilian brains kick in, provoking us to mindlessly react rather than mindfully respond to the thoughts and emotions that stimulate fear. We've been conditioned to do that. He offers some acronyms. Forget everything and run. I've heard some others I won't repeat here, but like all bullies, fear needs to be faced down, confronted. He offers another acronym, face everything and rethink. Face everything and rethink. Fear has some messengers. He offers some here. Anger, worry, judgment, selfishness, loneliness, uncertainty. I think that in my experience, anger is one of the biggest things I've seen produced by fear. Now, it's not always easy to look at that bully and say, "Ah, you're scared, aren't you?" But I've met some that I could, in my mind, realize there was fear back of that. Great fear behind that anger and ferociousness and that loud voice and that violent behavior. So empowerment. We tend to be disempowered by our fears. I took a look at fear and I started thinking about a workshop about that subject, sometime last year when I had this project, and I shared with some of y'all that I had a project to change the past, and that didn't work out so well for me, but I wanted to look back there and say, okay, these fears have limited me and caused me to not do things that I would have done that might have been more life-affirming, more joyful, more fun. Who doesn't want to have fun? I know some people that want to have fun. Author Gary Zukav writes, if you attend to the negative aspects of life, if you choose to focus on your attention on weaknesses of others, on their faults and shortcomings, you draw yourself the lower frequency energy currents of disdain, anger, and hatred. You put distance between yourself and others. If you choose to focus your attention on the strengths of others, on the virtues of others, on that part of others that strives for the highest, you run through your mind a system of higher frequency currents of appreciation, acceptance, and love. I think that I would choose those higher frequencies of love. I would choose those higher frequencies of joy. I would choose those higher frequencies of small children doing fun things at Costco. So if anybody asks you what she talked about today, well, she talked about her trip to Costco. That would be enough for me, I think. So refocus. I'm going to compare the view through my camera lens to the day-to-day perceptions in my life. By adjusting the aperture, I can sharpen or blur the image I create. That's a simplification, so any camera enthusiasts here, I'm just going to stop there. In my life, I can refocus to change my perspective. I can refocus to change my perspective. Reframe. To see the bigger picture of my life, to tell my story in a different way, I reframe my view of my circumstances. I look for the lessons in what I've experienced and I'm experiencing now. I look for the lessons. During COVID, I think of times when we've been kind of challenged. I won't call them a crisis of faith, but we were challenged. There were situations that were horrible. really horrible. And I was not personally affected by those situations, I'll tell you. I was able to work. My husband and I were both employed in situations where we could telework. We were actually in very good situation during that time. The worst thing that happened was we couldn't eat at our favorite restaurant. We had to stand in line at Trader Joe's. At Trader Joe's, when I was standing in line, I said to some people, if they looked receptive and friendly, I'd say, "Oh, you probably wonder why we're all meeting today. Thank you for joining me today in this gathering of friends." You know, some of them went, oh, rolled their eyes, but you know, it's any opportunity to be silly is just one of my favorites. A lot of us looked for things that had good things that had come of it. And one of the good things is we have Zoom meetings, we have Zoom classes, we have Zoom services that, you know, we reach people all over the world from our services. We reach people in other parts of the country. I can see one of them right now. That's a pretty cool thing. Now, I know, if someone here was affected by the horrible experience of that pandemic, that might not seem real to you. But I have to look for the joy. The joy doesn't just come to me without me looking for it. That's just me. So the way to regain my empowerment is to return to that higher frequency, that current of appreciation, acceptance, and love. In other words, to regain my power, I have to refocus and reframe. Now, there's a tilde between refocus and reframe in my title. A tilde denotes a pause. That's there on purpose. I don't believe it is enough to say God is good. I have to look for the good in God. If I believe there's a lot of joy in the world, I have to look for the joy in the world. This is a DIY action here. DIY? Anyway, it's do it yourself. Do it yourself, okay? I'm not up on all of my acronyms. And more about perception. We don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. Now, I researched this because I've been saying this for a long time. I learned it from a friend of mine, and I've been saying it for a long time because it's really true. It's all about that focus. It's all about that perception. It's all about that story that we've carried with us and what we've done with it. And it's attributed to a lot of sources, from the Babylonian Talmud to author Stephen Covey. And then some people just say anonymous because it's hard to attribute to any particular person. I like the one I read about, and I'm going to butcher this name, I'm sure, French novelist Anais Nin. She employed this statement in her work, Seduction of the Minotaur. She represented two characters to illustrate this point. She said, in the first example, both of the characters were going along the Seine River in France, and they came away with this. One character was bewildered by the enormous differences of the view. She saw all the beauty of the river. She saw the crystal clear waters. And her friend that was with her painted a picture of the trash, bottle caps, bottle corks, weeds, and stagnant edges. So what we were looking for, we were looking with. We don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. To change our focus, to change our lives, we must change our focus. And if you're here today, I will assume that it's because you want to feel better. You want to have a different focus on life. And if you're looking outside of yourself for that and haven't first done some work inside, that might not be so easy to do, because the outside world has a different message a lot of the time. No one is going to tell you how to feel or what to think. It's one of the things I like about this philosophy is we applaud your questions. We don't always have the answers, but we applaud them. We're delighted when people are searching for something, because that means we're awake. I've been in situations where I've been, well, particularly during meetings, business meetings, it's like I'd fall asleep because I've heard it all before, so I don't need to listen to that. In my spiritual life, if I think, oh, I don't need to listen to that because I've heard that before, I might miss something. I might miss something. Today we're just going to offer some tools to make things different. And at the workshop this afternoon, if you've signed up for it, and we have a couple more spaces if anybody hasn't signed up and would like to go, I've borrowed a few portions of a format known as Way of Counsel. And this comes from the Native American tradition of holding counsel. Now, we're not going to sit in a teepee, cross-legged, on the ground. We're going to sit in chairs. But we're going to use some of those principles to just be heard. And I won't go into detail about that. But what you do when you're in council is there's a talking piece, and I don't have one with me, but I have two of them today. We'll just pretend this is one of them. One of them is one of them is very serious, one of them is not. I'll just leave it at that. Anyway, the person with the talking piece has the floor, and we're going to have a timer because we want everyone to be heard that chooses to be heard. But we hope that people will feel free to be honest, because it is completely confidential. And we hope that people will feel free to look at the fear behind the fear, because that's our goal today. And I just appreciate all of you who've signed up for this. I would just leave you with this thought. Besides the tools that I might have mentioned in passing here, prayer and meditation and journaling are all favorites of mine. There's a ministry team here, and you can reach us through the center. You know how to find us. And if you have individual concerns and want an individual moment, a few moments with someone, please reach out. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I had the floor. I'm glad I was heard. And I want to thank you all. And as I often say when I close, please know the divine in me blesses and honors the divine in you. Thank you.
I can attest that Costco with kids is quite an adventure. This is a song that I wrote called Courage from the Heart. I hope you enjoy. The road less traveled is less traveled for a reason. It's lined with mirrors, we must face ourselves. The journey's done, courage from the heart. It's easier to stay on the beaten path. Where others go, we follow, thinking they know better. But deep within, that little child's crying. Use courage from the heart. Only you know where it is. You alone can take the steps. Every day we have a choice to let ourselves be free and fall into who we're meant to be. Only you know where it is. You alone can make the steps. Every day we have the choice to let ourselves be free and fall into who we're meant to be. The road less traveled is less traveled for a reason, but it's never too late to change our way and just start walking. Oh, the life we crave is ours to take with courage from the heart. Oh, with courage from the heart. With courage from the heart.
Thank you. It's your birthday, but you still have to work.
No time off around here.
Okay.
Okay, we'll have the people who are helping us with this come forward. Okay. All right. One on this side and one on this side. Your sign to that, or your sign to that. Now we're going to speak prayer. In your program, there is a wonderful prayer about, we call it the offertory affirmation. It starts out divine love. So let's start. Divine love, moving in and through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. And so it is.
I am grateful. I am grateful for abundance in my life. I am grateful. I am grateful for the abundance in my life. I am grateful.
And I just want to say this morning, I am so grateful. I'm so grateful that you are here, Ari, with your beautiful music and your soul, and Cheryl with your amazing message that I always love so much. I'm grateful for this community. And as we said in our affirmation, that for which we are grateful multiplies, the focus multiplies. And as we shared this morning, that divine love was able to move through us. So I just want to give thanks together for that. That when we give, we are recognizing the fullness within us. And we give in wisdom, and we give in recognition. We give in wisdom of knowing what is ours to give, and we give in recognition that there is a divine flow, and that you and I are part of that divine flow. And as we are surprised, as we are inspired to share from that flow, what I know, like a current of water that continues to move, it expands the space through which it moves. And so as we give and as we release, that space is expanded for our own reception. And we allow ourselves to be blessed. And I just give thanks for that. And so it is. And so together, let us stand and say our prayer of protection and move into our song of always holding that peace is possible. So the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Let's stand and say our reset the prayer of protection. So let's sing our peace song. Join hands.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there is peace.